Hi, welcome to Workplace Intelligence. I'm Sheryl Butchin, and this is our podcast today. We have Whitney Pennington, and I'm very excited to hear what she has to share with us today. She is the founder and managing attorney of Pennington Law Firm, LLC, an award winning and nationally recognized Southwest Virginia practice. She helps individuals and families navigate divorce and custody of balancing compassion with honest client-centered guidance, which we all wish to have if we're going through struggles like that. So that's so important. Thank you for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the invite.
It is my pleasure for sure. Family law and estate planning often involve some of the most emotional moments in a person's life. How do you help clients feel supported while also providing practical legal guidance?
So I think it starts from the time they walk through my door, from the consultation and forward is the first few minutes or several minutes really of the consultation is letting them say what they need to say. It's almost like a therapy session for them. One, it's important information for me. It gives me background. It lets me know where they're at emotionally and mentally within the process itself. And then I often transition and ask more formal questions about filings and what's been done, but the first few minutes is really just letting them connect and have that moment where they don't always have it in every other office. I think that's important, and really just asking them a lot of questions. I was actually on a phone call today, and I'm very detail oriented, and it's a custody case coming up, so I'm, talking about their pediatrician and, when was the last time you did this and when was the last time you did the doctor's appointments and just various things, but being very in tune with their case and making them feel heard, I think is very, very important in being engaged and not just getting the facts and the names and passing it along, but really taking a deep dive and personal look into each case as it walks through the door. And I balance that with the years of experience that I have in this area, which I've been doing this about 14 or 15 years at this point. It's a long time, done a lot of cases. Family law is really my niche, and that's what I've practiced primarily in. And so I've been in front of a lot of different judges, a lot of different thought processes. And so at the end of the day, after I listen to all of what they want to tell me, I then come back and say, okay, well, this is where we're at. And certain courts handle things differently. So that's important to know your jurisdiction and your judge because judges are human too. You got to keep that in mind. They have preferences and you're
I
presenting
didn't
to
know
them.
that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, people tend to think, and I did too early in my career, judges are just human and they are like us. They have their own preferences in terms of what they think is important or what they place emphasis on. So knowing who you're in front of and what's going to be important to that judge is often pivotal and is going to guide my guidance, is really going to help me better, I guess.
Excellent. So you talk about client-centered care. How does that look like in practice, and why is it so important today? It doesn't sound like any lawyer I've ever heard talking to me about their clients, that's for sure. So it's nice to hear that you spend so much time with the relationship building and the trust building, because that is critical in such an emotional whirlwind that you're in. Many frustrations between clients and professionals come down to expectations. How important is setting expectations early in the process? That's smart. At least you try hard. So visible communications is the key. Just here's what's going on and here's where we are and this is what we'll expect. So it's and following through. Excellent. So, preparation seems to be one of the keys to successful outcomes. What can clients do better to prepare themselves before beginning the legal process? Right. Absolutely. That's the goal. Promptness and responsiveness are increasingly important in this profession. Why do those seem small things, seeming to have small things and such a big impact in the client experience? Oh, that was a terrible question from me. Exactly. Exactly what I was thinking about. Absolutely, makes sense. And I'm sure there's strict regulations around what kind of notification or what kind of communications you're allowed to send or must send or by what way it has to be broadcasted. So I'm sure there's things that are out of your control as well as far as the speed of things. Um, from what I've dealt with in the legal world, there's always a process and a system and how many days you have to wait and things like that. But How do you balance empathy and compassion with the need to remain objective and an advocate and to advocate effectively? Well, you certainly can't internalize all of that all the time and not leave it at the door at night. You have to go home to your family and your environment. So that makes sense that you have to have a certain level of objectivity to maintain. Oh, yeah. An attorney and a mother. What are some of the biggest misconceptions people have when entering divorce or family law proceedings? Oh, okay. Well, so you have a secret magic wand in your drawer, and when they need the judge to change his mind, you just wave it for them. Oh, very nice. Well, I would say before this podcast started, I would not have known the length of time it would take for that. And a year is probably more than I would have guessed. So, yes, perspective is on the shorter side, I would think, than the longer side. But um, it is what it is, and the process is slow. But I guess if you do tell them at the very beginning, this is not a month, this is going to be a year, okay, then settle in. Yeah, because they could easily look it up on their own computers and say, oh, I just looked that up and it says something different, but they don't realize they're in the wrong state or in the wrong jurisdiction. I've actually heard that in my HR experience as well, where they're trying to quote the FMLA to me or something like that, and I'm like, no, I know what you've read, but it's not applied to us. Okay. So moving on, what separates an exceptional client experience from an average one? Yeah. Or what would be, yeah. That's exactly what I wrote. What separates an exceptional client? I guess client experience. You can change it too, in general. Okay. So, how do you establish trust with someone who may be experiencing one of the hardest times of their lives? How do you even get to be heard through what they're going through? Right. I'm a robot. I'm asking you these questions. Let it all out. Let them know what's going on. No, I agree with all of your approaches. So it's very interesting to learn it from you. And there are things that I already had stereotyped in my mind. If I went to see an attorney, I didn't know you shopped around for him. I would have just picked one and gone. But now I know I'm supposed to date around a little, and so I'm learning a lot. What lessons from family law apply to leaders and business owners in the industry? Like, how do you think that this could apply to regular, different type of businesses? Yeah. Yes. I agree. What advice would you give a young woman building careers in law or launching their own firm? It's hard to hear and do all of that when you're just starting out, though. I understand what you're saying. You read books. Okay. I hope all those young women starting out hear your voice and are able to show that out in the world because I think that's a big obstacle for a lot of younger women just starting out in the career. It's just all new information, all new environment, and to feel confident is a little difficult at that beginning time. Yes, that's the word. So you have to find your comfort zone. So you can either, like you said, there's a spectrum. You can be a bossy, aggressive type person, or you can be more laid back, but you still can practice law and you can still win cases and all of those things. So, so looking back on your career, what have you learned about the importance of emotional connection and human relationships in the professional services? And I think we're just summing up everything you've already said because I don't want you to feel like you have to repeat anything. No, I can't. And I don't think it's something that you're going to have as much to deal with the family law because you have a lot of people involved in that kind of law where as contract law or something where it's more paper, you know. So you're going to always have that maintain that personal human empathetic kind of relationship with your clients. Anyway, yeah. And I was going to say, and some would just come every year for a divorce or whatever. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. I learned so much, and I'm sure all of the people watching are going to learn a lot from you. And you're very easy to listen to, and I can understand why your clients follow you and listen to what you're saying and do what you say most of the time. Well, it sounds like you do, and that's a great thing. Okay. Well, oh, it was a pleasure. Thank you.